Let's go. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? It, of course, is Thursday, July 2nd, 2 days before one of the best holidays on the calendar year, the big summer bash in America. Ooh, baby girl, turning 250. You don't look a day over 200, but you say so myself. Looking pretty all right. Got some corners that need a little polishing up, but you know what, dude? We are here. We are rocking out. I, of course, am James with the Hat and Beard Show. You are an attentive audience. We don't have a lot to discuss today, guys, because, of course, it's the off season, but there is some news and notes from around the league that we will discuss and go over before ending with a chill Brett Kollmann video. We're going to be kicking it all the way back to the early aughts, 2008. Thinking the Wayback Machine. I was a 20-year-old young fella in 2008. What a time to be alive, guys. But obviously, with it being America's big old birthday coming up, the 4th of July. Figure I'd kick it over to my guy Paul Harvey for a minute here. I'm going to have a little 10-minute segment here. We'll watch it together, and then we'll talk about the news and stuff. Do all the things, guys, before we get into it. Subscribe to the channel, notification bell, like, share, comment, all the things, stuff and things. I appreciate you guys being here. Ooh, YouTube said, no, you're a bad boy. Because I dared show it the jiggledy cat toy. A little Key and Peele clip, and my video got blocked, but it is what it is. We'll make the best of it. Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna hand it off to Jocko, and then we'll figure this thing out. Huh? Let's go.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
All right. Hey, guys, I appreciate you. Marcus, dude, I like that. The watch party thing. That's a good one. I'm going to go ahead and pin that real quick. Oh, bam, bam, wham, bam. Thank you, sir. My mom's hanging out. Rick C's here. What's up, Raw? Click, click, boom, as the goon. Guys, check this out real quick. Now, I know that some of you guys, some of you snowbacks up there aren't going to quite jive with this, but just pretend you're American with me here for a quick little Paul Harvey video. Yeah. It's the Friday night show on Thursday night. Yeah, I'm drinking. Have a cold one. Have it on me. Put it on my tab. We got a couple of tall Miller lattes to get through tonight. You and me, bud. You and me. Gonna get after it and get up on, get down. 911 is a joke in your town.
Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey. You remember the cherry tree fiction. A long time after you have forgotten the more earth-shaking history-making episodes in the life of George Washington. You have misplaced in your memory the details of Ben Franklin's statesmanship, but you remember his flying a kite. Joyce Kilmer was a great military hero, but the only thing you personally recall about him is his poetic tribute to trees. Maybe of this current decade, that which will be remembered best will not be its wars and its moon rockets or its crumbling frontiers or the giants who lived and died. Maybe all that'll survive to linger in the day-by-day vocabulary of generations yet unborn may be the songs of a Memphis minstrel or the reincarnation of electric automobiles. But for any eve of the 4th of July, I, Paul Harvey, do herewith bequeath unto you something to remember. You may not be able to quote one line from the Declaration of Independence at this moment. Henceforth, you'll always be able to quote at least one line. It's in the last paragraph where you will recall when I remind you. It says, "We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." In the Pennsylvania State House that's now called Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the best men from each of the colonies sat down together. This was a very fortunate hour in our nation's history, one of those rare occasions in the lives of men when we had greatness to spare. These were men of means, well-educated. 24 were lawyers and jurists. 9 were farmers, owners of large plantations. On June 11, a committee sat down to draw up a Declaration of Independence. We were going to tell the British fatherland no more rule by redcoats. Below the dam of ruthless foreign rule, the stream of freedom was running shallow and muddy. And we were going to light a fuse to dynamite that dam. This pact, as Burke later put it, was a partnership between the living and the dead and the yet unborn. There was no bigotry, there was no demagoguery in this group. All had shared hardships. Jefferson finished a draft of the document in 17 days. Congress adopted it in July, and so much is familiar history. But now, King George III had denounced all rebels in America as traitors. Punishment for treason was hanging. The names now so familiar to you from the several signatures on that Declaration of Independence, the names were kept secret for 6 months, for each knew the full meaning of that magnificent last paragraph in which his signature pledged his life, his fortune, and his sacred honor. 56 men placed their names beneath that pledge. 56 men knew when they signed that they were risking everything. They knew if they won this fight, the best they could expect would be years of hardship in a struggling nation. And if they lost, they'd face a hangman's rope. But they signed the pledge. And here is the documented fate of that gallant 56. Carter Braxton of Virginia, wealthy planter, trader, saw his ships swept from the seas. To pay his debts, he lost his home and all of his properties and died in rags. Thomas Lynch Jr., who signed that pledge, was a third-generation rice grower, aristocrat, large plantation owner. After he signed, his health failed. His wife and he set out for France to regain his failing health. Their ship never got to France, was never heard from again. Thomas McKean of Delaware was so harassed by the enemy that he was forced to move his family 5 times in 5 months. He served in Congress without pay, his family in poverty and in hiding. Vandals looted the properties of Ellery and Clymer and Hall and Gwinnett and Walton and Hayward and Rutledge and Middleton. Thomas Nelson Jr. of Virginia raised $2 million on his own signature to provision our allies, the French fleet. After the war, he personally paid back the loans, wiped out his entire estate, and he was never reimbursed by his government. In the final battle for Yorktown, he, Nelson, urged General Washington to fire on his, Nelson's, own home, which was occupied by Cornwallis. It was destroyed. Thomas Nelson Jr. had pledged his life, his fortune, and his sacred honor. The Hessians seized the home of Frances Hopkinson of New Jersey. Francis Lewis had his home and everything destroyed, his wife imprisoned. She died within a few months. Richard Stockton, who signed that declaration, was captured, mistreated, his health broken to the extent that he died at 51. His estate was pillaged. Thomas Hayward Jr. was captured when Charleston fell. John Hart was driven from his wife's bedside while she was dying. Their 13 children fled in all directions for their lives. His fields and grist mill were laid waste. For more than a year, he lived in forests and caves and returned home after the war to find his wife dead, his children gone, his properties gone, and he died a few weeks later of exhaustion and a broken heart. Lewis Morris saw his land destroyed, his family scattered. Philip Livingston died within a few months from the hardships of the war. John Hancock, history remembers best due to a quirk of fate rather than anything he stood for. That great sweeping signature attesting to his vanity towers over the others. One of the wealthiest men in New England. And yet he stood outside Boston one terrible night of the war. And he said, "Burn Boston, though it makes John Hancock a beggar, if the public good requires it." So he too lived up to the pledge. Of the 56, few were long to survive. 5 were captured by the British and tortured before they died. 12 had their homes from Rhode Island to Charleston sacked, looted, occupied by the enemy, or burned. 2 lost their sons in the army. 1 had 2 sons captured. 9 of the 56 died in the war from its hardships or from its more merciful bullets. I don't know what impression you had of the men who met that summer in Philadelphia. But I think it's important that we remember this about them. They were not poor men. They were not wild-eyed pirates. These were men of means. They were rich men, most of them, and had enjoyed much ease and luxury in their personal living. Not hungry men, certainly not terrorists, not irresponsible malcontents, not fanatical incendiaries. These men were prosperous men, wealthy landowners. They were substantially secure in their prosperity. They had everything to lose. But they considered liberty, and this is as much as I shall say of it. They had learned that liberty is so much more important than security, that they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. And they fulfilled their pledge. They paid the price, and freedom was born.
Doesn't that just kind of hit you a little bit? A little bit right there. Makes you proud to be an American. You know what I'm saying, dude? Some bad mamma jammas, them founding fathers, dude. You know, like there's some bad mamma jammas right there. You know what I'm saying? You know who's not a bad mamma jamma, but he thinks he is? Terrion Arnold. Hey, Arnold. He's a fucking football head. His lawyer informs the court he's been contacted by not two, but three teams. Allegedly. False allegations and non-facts. We shall see. Former first-round pick Terrion Arnold was officially waived on Wednesday. The other 31 teams have until 4 p.m. Eastern on Monday, July 6th, to put in a claim for the balance of his contract. Earlier in the day, Arnold's criminal case will return to the docket for a hearing on whether, given his release by the Lions, he'll be required to wear an ankle monitor while on home confinement, pending trial. Via Mark Inabitite of AL.com, the written opposition to the prosecution's motion contains a somewhat surprising claim. Attorney Harvey Steinberg informed the court that Arnold expects to join a new NFL team, quote, within 30 days. Oh, okay. Although Mr. Arnold has been released by the Detroit Lions organization, he's already been contacted by 3 other NFL clubs regarding his services. Steinberg wrote, it's hard to imagine any team claiming the balance of Arnold's guaranteed first-round contract on waivers. The NFL could put him on paid leave before the opening of training camp, which would require Arnold's new team to pay him until the criminal case is resolved. And if the Lions release Arnold for, quote, personal conduct that adversely affected the team, which would avoid the guarantees, the team that claims him on waivers wouldn't have that luxury. Sucks to be them. Cutting Arnold after claiming the contract on waivers means owing him the full amount of the remaining compensation, $4.848 million. There's a rule of thumb in some league circles that a generalized claim of the teams having interest in a player without the teams being identified could be puffery amid a generating interest in a player. But it's one thing for an agent to leak such a contention to a tweet-happy insider. It's quite another for an officer of the court to make that representation in a signed written document. Way to make it sound way more important than it is. An officer of the court. He's a fucking defense attorney. He's a criminal defense attorney, dude. Are you shitting me? Harvey Steinberg. It's Harvey Steinberg, dude. Call my attorney. His name's Harvey Steinberg. It sets the stage for a potentially interesting hearing on Monday. The judge may ask Steinberg point blank to name the teams or to submit tangible proof of interest. The judge may ask Steinberg about the possibility of Arnold being placed on paid leave. I hope he does. I hope the judge goes, who are they? Name names. You make this claim that 3 teams, 10% of the NFL, is interested in grab-ass Terrion butt Arnold, football head. Idiot. Fucking idiot. They're interested in his idiotic grab-ass services. Who? Who is it? Go ahead. Go ahead now. Go ahead now, Mr. Steinberg. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like, go ahead. We know who it is. It's the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Bears. In the end, this one seems fairly simple. The judge was reluctant to excuse Arnold from wearing an ankle monitor. The deciding factor, presumably, was the reality that Arnold would be practicing and playing football for the Lions. If so, the ruling should be that Arnold must wear the monitor until he's signed by a team and the contract is submitted to the court. Then, an if-when statement, you know I love these grandma wagon statements. If when grandma wagon he's released again, or if he is placed on paid leave, the monitor would be reattached. For now, the question is whether another team will make a claim for Arnold on waivers. If that doesn't happen, he'll land in a pool of available free agents, and the question for any interested team would be whether his potential value as a player is outweighed by other issues that having him on the roster would bring to the table. Yeah, that's a no-win situation for a team that wants to be involved with Terrion Butt Arnold, football head, and his nonsensory, his idiot. Don't be an idiot, Terrion Arnold, the idiot. You know what I'm saying, dude? So not only are the Lions going to get out from underneath his contract, but a team that signs him, oh, yeah. Oh, you don't have that luxury, my friend. Oh, sucks to be you. Sucks to be anybody that wants grab ass Arnold. That's gonna be a no for me, dog. That's gonna be a no for me, dog. I'm gonna have to go ahead and pass on the services of Terrion grab ass, Terrion butt Arnold, Terrion football head, Terrion the idiot Arnold. Now, we have been discussing, full disclosure, ad nauseum, possible replacements for Terrion Arnold. There have been names floated. Now, I'm going to be honest. I do like, look, I'm going to be very honest with Raw over here, Raw. I do like the idea of a Denzel Ward. I just can't give up what it's going to cost to get him. You know what I'm saying? What are you guys feeling about? The Jets are in play. Glenn loved TA during the draft. Oh, you're probably right, dude. And what do the Jets have to lose? What are they? Is their defense going to get any worse? What, are they going to go another year without an interception? You know what I'm saying? This is bullshit. Put on the ankle bracelet. 100% Pennington. I agree, dude. I'd say Eagle, Cowboys, or Jets. All right, so hey, you know what? Hang on one second. If they can't name the team, the judge still doesn't make him wear the monitor he's getting off. Oh, you think so, Pennington? I hope not, man. What up, Doug? What up, Motown? How you doing, man? Popping in for a Sunday night, dude. What's up, Mr. Detroit City? Keep up the great work, dude. I keep up the great work because you guys keep turning out, man. I appreciate it. Good old Harvey and Lions football take me back to the good old days when even Dad was young enough to play. Harvey taught me how to see America. Dad taught me how to about the pigskin that Lions wore. Dude, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Dude, Raw, I had that same thought. Imagine politicians working for people without pay. I thought that. I was like, listen to that. He served in Congress without pay. I was like, and every politician recoils in horror of that idea. You know what I'm saying, bro? I do like that you guys like Paul Harvey, dude. Real quick, what was I gonna say? Eagles, Cowboys, and Jets. Hang on. I'm gonna start a poll, guys. Yeah. Here we go. I got you. Y'all think the Jets are the landing spot for Terrion the idiot Arnold? Arnold. I got you guys. Check this out. Sorry, it's taking me so long. We're just chilling. We're just chilling on a Thursday night, fellas. We're just chilling. We're just chilling on Max, relaxing on cool, dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, here we go, fellas. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me now. Dude, I hate it when it does this shit. Come on. Oh, lame. Bro, There we go. I think I just barely was able to get it. Hey, all right, cool. My window's so tiny, it's hard for me to get things up in here. You know what I'm saying? TA is innocent as he can by listening to that bond hearing. No shit. As he can be. Well, we'll see. Damn, look at you guys flooding the poll. So I threw a poll up there. Y'all think the Jets are the landing spot for Terrion the Idiot Arnold? So far, 75% of the 4 votes say yes. All right, guys, I dig that. I didn't even think about the Terrion Arnold, Aaron Glenn connection, dude. I didn't even think about that, dude. When I think about Aaron Glenn, I think about it being like, crying over the corner that I wanted us to draft. If TA goes somewhere and actually turns it around, I guess good for him, but it would piss me off. Yeah, it would be a little bit of salt on my ass, dude. That would chap my ass just a little bit, but here's the thing. Until a team is willing to tape Terrion Arnold's hands into little fists, he's never going to be a solid corner because he's too busy playing grab ass. Part of me thinks maybe he wanted to go to prison just so he can hang out in the showers and play grab ass with a bunch of dudes, bro. The way he's a handsy motherfucker, dude. He be putting them dick beaters all over wide receivers, dude. Half the time you think he just wanted to cop a feel of JJ. You know what I'm saying? So back to the topic at hand here. We were talking about possible replacements because it's the offseason and we have to talk about stuff, but the reality is Brad Holmes isn't going to. He's not going out of house, dude. He's not. We're not bringing. There's nobody coming in. Nobody is coming to save you. You better hope that your rock is solid and that Enos can stand up. Ooh, that almost sounded like a naughty little thing, dude. But here we go. Over at Lions on SI. Christian Boer has a little article here for us, a name that I hadn't even, because look, here's the thing. There are a lot of guys down in rosters that it's like, oh shit, Riley Moss, for example. Everybody looks to the free agent market. Everybody looks at kind of some bigger names like to Raw's point, a Denzel Ward, you know what I'm saying? Which again, I'm not necessarily mad at the idea of a Denzel Ward. I don't want to give up the capital, the draft capital that's going to cost to bring in a cat like that. You know what I'm saying? I felt bad for the guy. Damn, no shit. The only thing TA is catching is cocky person. I think D block is the landing spot for Terrion Arnold. No shit. Right on, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Lions' biggest needs. And 72 is CB. Dude, Motown. I know, bro. What's funny, dude, is I didn't really think about it until you started kind of mentioning. You're like, dude, they suck at cornerbacks. And I'm like, yeah. We only ever, the only time we have serviceable corners outside of Slay, in my opinion, is when we, sign free agents, right? Who comes to mind? Terry Fair, Andre Goodman, Enos Rakestraw, Terrion Arnold, Chase Lucas. But when you think of guys who are serviceable, outside of Darius Slay, in my lifetime, the only name that comes to mind of an actually oh, hey, we had a good corner was Dre Bly. That's the only name that really pops up as a standout guy. That's really fucking bad. You know what I'm saying? Slay only had one good year. You're right, dude. He really did only have one good year, dude. It was the bond hearing. These weren't evidence presented. Yeah, I do have to agree with Cody. And this is something that I think the American populace can really look to. Dre was awesome, though. Dude, Dre, I was so bummed out he didn't work out as our secondary coach. I wouldn't mind letting Slay get one more year and letting him retire a Lion. Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro. Chris Houston and Dre Bly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Chris Houston. Yeah, dude, I forgot about that. Oh, shit, dude. Nicely done. Nicely done, fellas. This is why I like Mad Hatter Nation. You guys know Lions, dude. I do have to agree with Cody, though, and where I think we can look to see was a large sample, or a big enough sample size to say this is the problem with the American news cycle / judicial system. Look at how the court of public opinion had already ruled on the Austin Metcalf and what the fuck? What is that kid's name? The dad called him the watermelon felon. whatever that kid's name was that stabbed Austin Metcalf and killed him, right? The court of public opinion had already sentenced Austin Metcalf, or had already ruled that Austin Metcalf was the aggressor, right? Because the reality about court situations is there is evidence that the public isn't privy to. You know what I'm saying? There is going to be stuff presented in court that you and I don't fucking know about, which ties even more to what myself, James at the Hat and Beard Show, and James Harrison both said. There's some type of information that Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions and the judicial system, the prosecuting attorney, they fucking know. But you and me, we don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying, bro? Carmelo Anthony, that's his name. Yeah, exactly. Carmelo Anthony. Yep, that's what his name was. All I could remember is Metcalf's dad called him the watermelon felon. I was like, God damn, dude. I was like, that. Fuck, man. You know, you think that you would hear all of the fucking all of them by 38 years old, and then someone hits you with the line watermelon felon. You know what I'm saying? Bring back the death penalty. Thugs aren't scared of jail. You know, I'm gonna take a step farther than that, Pennington. As much of a pro-lifer as I am, I am in favor of the death penalty. The problem is that it's always so like long. For one, that so long that they're on death row, right? That it just becomes a fucking burden to the taxpayer, and then it's such a sanitized public or private experience. You know what I'm saying? I kind of think maybe we bring back public gallows. Look, here's the thing, dude. If you show these people, hey, literally, this is what fucking happens to you, they go, oh, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Stop glamorizing and glorifying thuggish activity and criminal behavior, which again we can maybe look to possible turnaround in the next. Unfortunately, it's going to big ship turn slow, to quote Aaron Glenn. With the defunding of USAID, the subsequent drop off of thuggery, bullshit, liberal mentality, and then you look to the fact that, well, since you defunded USAID for the first time in almost fucking like 30, 40 years, there hasn't been an R&B or hip-hop song in the Billboard Top 40. Now that the CIA can't continue to, manipulate a certain percentage of the population. You know what I'm saying? Public executions. You got, Motown, yeah. Some politicians could use the gallows. Dude, if they were a little scared, but the thing is, dude, most of these motherfuckers, they get in, and once they're in, dude, they're like herpes, bro. They just don't go away. You know what I'm saying, dude? Now the Coliseum, yeah, dude, fuck yeah. Why not, bro? You know what I'm saying? Why not, dude? Why not? How's this, dude? I'll take it a step farther, dude. Look, I don't think we should have any immigration for the next 20 fucking years. An absolute kibosh on all of it. No illegal, no asylum, no H1 Habibis, no none of that nonsense, bro. However, I will give you a caveat, right? If you want a gladiatorial fight your way in, dude, and you want to have, fight to the death, whoever survives, round robin, round of like 100, you let in maybe 1 or 2 a year. Not only is it brain drain possibly from other countries, but we're also getting the best of the best, Oh, all right, guys. So what we were talking about is Zyon McCollum, right? Could the Lions benefit from making the move for the Buccaneers corner? Here's a name. Like I said, a name that just kind of popped up a little bit. I was like, hey, oh, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey, oh. I didn't really think that was a route to go. I'm kind of a Tre'Davious White or a Rasul Douglas kind of move. Or, dude, guys. Okay, so here's the reality of the situation. This is what we can get away with, okay? If you want to write checks for the future, you go after somebody that you can get for a 3rd-round pick. Why a 3rd-round pick? Why are you trading away a 3rd-round pick? Because hypothetically, theoretically, and logically, the Lions make this acquisition for a player, 3rd-round pick. The Lions defense ascends. What am I getting at? Calvin Shepard ends up going to another team to become a head coach. The Lions, in turn, get a third-round pick thanks to the Rooney Rule. It's one hand washing the other, no harm, no foul. But Zyon McCollum is a name that I was like, not flashy, not sexy, kind of a gritty player. I wonder how he fits our system. Oh, shit the bed. This is exactly what we need right here, guys. Check it out here. Let me pause this nonsense and tomfoolery and chicanery going on. The Lions are navigating the immediate aftermath of an unfortunate situation. After a legal situation with starting quarterback Terrion Arnold, the Lions elected to waive their 2024 first-round pick. This leaves a void in the secondary position group that has already been marred by injuries. Though the Lions do have some veteran depth at the position, there is a value in the team looking around to see if there are veteran options available. One possible option the team could consider would be to make a trade for Tampa, Bay, Buccaneers cornerback Zyon McCollum. Who is Zyon McCollum? Well, he's a fifth-round pick of the Buccaneers in 2022's NFL Draft. McCollum has carved out a solid career. He has started all 30 of his appearances over the last 2 seasons and has made 42 starts in 60 games over 4 years. It's uncertain whether or not the Bucs would be interested in a deal for McCollum, as he's currently under contract through the 2028 season. He signed a 3-year extension prior to the start of last season and is set to jump in his cap hit next season. So, Tampa kind of getting a little cheap deal on him right now. Hey, why would I part from a valuable asset that is so dirt cheap this year when maybe I can shop him around next year? You know what I'm saying? In the Big 2-6, McCollum will carry a cap hit of $5.2553 million. However, his extension will kick in heavily beginning in 2027 when that cap hit spikes to just under $20 million for both that year and the following. From a schematic perspective, there's a lot to like about the potential pairing between McCollum and the Lions defense. He stands at 6'2" and is long, athletic outside corner. That is exactly what Detroit needs. He has some ball production, maybe not as grab-assy, though. He has 3 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. Additionally, he's had 17 passes defended in 2024. McCollum is also an active participant in the run game, as he finished the last season with a run defense grade of 69.9. Very nice via PFF. Detroit has some depth it can explore before it decides whether or not to trade. A trade is necessary. DJ Reed is expected to be the top corner for the second straight year, while veterans like Rock Ya-Sin, Roger McCreary, and Enos the Penis Rakestraw are all options to compete for the job opposite him. Well, I think McCreary's probably going to be hanging his hat on that slot corner. McCreary is anticipated at the nickel corner, so that would theoretically leave Ya-Sin and Rakestraw as the top 2 options for the other outside spot. Don't forget about my guy, Nick Whiteside. If the Lions don't feel confident in either option, take a swing for players like McCollum would certainly make sense, or Keith Abney. However, the financial elements this deal could make is difficult. It's been well documented the Lions GM Brad Holmes wants to retain members of that 23 draft class, and he's already gotten the deal done with linebackers like Action Jack Campbell, first-team All-Pro Action Jack Campbell. Now that leaves the team still to attempt to re-sign players like Jahmyr Gibbs, capital I Gibbs, Brian Branch, and Sam Laporta. With all 3 expected to get big money, big money, swing, swing. It would make adding another 2-year commitment of almost $20 million towards the cap annually a little bit difficult. Detroit has shown some aggression on the trade under Brad Holmes. However, many of these deals have been for players on the final year of their respective deals. As a result, it would be surprising if the Lions were to make this move, though it would certainly be beneficial for their defense. And not to, try and get you too hype about it. To be fair, we already do have a history of trading with Tampa. Specifically, trading corners from Tampa. However, they were on a 1-year deal. But Damn, I wish we would have been able to re-sign Carlton Davis, dude. Man, that would have just not ifs and buts would have even ifs and the butters, oh, with the candies and the nuts. Oh, we'd never be having this Terrion Arnold conversation. But personally, I blame Rod Wood because he's a cheap bastard when it comes to the purse strings. How do we feel, chat? How we doing? What's up, Steve? How you doing, man? Good to see you, bro. They were threatening to kill his other son. Absolutely pathetic. No shit. Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the. Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. I see what you're talking about, Cody. Yeah, dude, it's fucked up. I think bring back the Roman. I've seen them in Coliseum. Fuck yeah, dude. Amateur undefeated MMA fighter, just let me have a shot at them. Why do Lions fans think they're so good? I believe if they don't win the big one this year or miss the playoffs, Goff will either retire or ask to be traded, and so will St. Brown. I don't think that's accurate, but we're all entitled to our own opinion. Rocky Yassin earned a starting spot, IMO. I think so as well. I liked what I seen out of Yassin last year. Do I think he's the long-term solution? No. But do I think we can get a year and a half of solid play out of him? Yes. I do think Rocky Yassin can hold it down, dude. Call him Band-Aid because he's going to be holding it down. Tampa incarcerates our corner now. We got to try and get one of theirs. Damn, Pennington. That you know what? That's the new pin. Replace pin message. That's a good one, dude. Gava's been in the league a long time, hasn't won the big one yet, and players can only take so much. It does weigh on them. Jared Goff is coming into his prime, dude. Jared Goff is just now entering his prime, and he's already an elite quarterback who is just now entering his prime. I wouldn't worry too much about JG16 for MVP. I'd have to ask you guys, but I already know the answer. Have you ever seen a man make an omelet live on the field during a play? Well, we're about to see it happen at least 17 times this regular season. Goff will do it at least once a game. He'll just take a little hot plate out there, dude. A little battery on that son of a bitch. He's going to charge right up. Blue 18 say hot. And he's just going to sit back there, crack a few eggs, whip up a fucking omelet while the play unfolds. He's going to have all the time in the world. JG16 for MVP. And the big 2-6, you take 2-6, you multiply it by 2. That's 52 touchdowns for Jared Goff. He's going to pass for 52, probably rush for another 30, 32 touchdowns. 5,000 yards on through the air, probably another couple thousand through the ground. Jared Goff's going to be pushing 10,000 yards of offensive production this year. I don't know what else to tell you, dude. And that's if the coaching staff is able to restrain him from getting on the field when we're on defense, dude, because Lord help you if Jared Goff's out there running amok at safety, dude. We already have a need at safety, dude. Look, the secret weapon is JG16 coming in, playing for Kirby Joseph, dude. And Lord help you if the Lions actually listen to me and they line Giovanni Manu up out there either in replace of Terrion Arnold or Brian Branch. Oh, shit. What happened, Mitch? What's up, dude? Hate to be that guy, but I lost my dad yesterday. You could get some prayers. Oh, damn, Motown. I am sorry to hear that, brother. Damn, dude. My bad. That sucks, dude. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Goff will play until plus 40 years old. He's going to end up top 5 all time in yards and touchdowns. Marcus. I love it. I fucking love it, dude. So you just got to remember good times. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Man, Motown, I am sorry to hear that. I remember you saying things were, a little touch and go there for a little bit, dude. So, man. Sorry to hear that, bud. That's just rough, dude. That's just rough. Let's take your mind off and watch let's kick it back to some old school. You guys want to watch some old school football stuff, dude? Check this out. This is Brett Kollmann. You guys know I'm a big fan of this Brett Kollmann cat, dude. He absolutely crushes that, dude. Not only does he make really good content, but bro, real recognized, real my friend, ball, Brett Kollmann. So check it out. When 28 Pro Bowlers met in the AFC Championship. Check this out, guys. This is gonna. You want some nostalgia? You want some nostalgia on a Thursday night? Let's go.
There are many great rivalries in the NFL, most of which go back decades. But for my money, no rivalry in the entire sport hits quite like the Steelers and the Ravens. And I mean that literally. 16 years ago, the legacy of this matchup was cemented forever, right here in this city, with quite possibly the most brutally beautiful game ever played.
Real quick, this video is it's a year old, just so you know. This video is a year old, so,
It was physical, it was personal, and it was awesome. If you were lucky enough to watch the 2008 AFC Championship game live, consider this your trip down memory lane. But for everybody else, consider this your crash course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the land of big boy football.
You see what I'm saying about how he makes really good content? Look at these shots, dude. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this around so that I can get to this level and make content like this. Can't do it unless you guys share me around. We're so close to the 1,000, dude. We're so close.
Just got more contempt for each other than they had in the past.
Yo, Willis McGahee.
Woodley again.
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
They are playing for the Lamar Hunt Trophy. It goes to the AFC champion. Will it be Baltimore or will it be Pittsburgh? So here we go.
The game started out about how you would expect, with a Steelers field goal on their opening drive, and then forcing the Ravens to punt on their own opening possession. Pittsburgh had early control, but the Ravens' defense, led by Rex Ryan, was not going to go down without a fight.
Edwin Jones, number 84, lining up at defensive end. He's also a backup tight end for the Ravens, and they're in.
Haloti Ngata.
And they get him with Ngata and Price.
Bad man.
This is a type of blitz known colloquially as four-weak, meaning four rushers are getting after it from the weak side of the offensive formation. There's a million different ways to run four-weak with all sorts of different pressure paths for these four rushers, and these types of calls were a staple of the Baltimore defense under Ryan, especially on 3rd and long like this one. And in particular, the pressure path on this play was a double stunt known as cold, me, left. Cold is the name for the inside stunt, and me is the name for the outside stunt. And for those who don't know what these stunts actually are, cold is when the cocked nose here gets upfield into the A-gap to draw the center with him, and then the next closest rusher outside of him will then loop inside to hopefully come free, like Ngata does here.
Look at
and
that.
it's the same concept outside as
Haloti
well.
Ngata's a giant person for moving that fast,
is
too.
when the player who is the second furthest outside will be getting vertical up the field to either penetrate or just draw the protection deeper with him behind the pocket, and then the furthest outside rusher will loop back inside. For those wondering why these stunts are named that way, well, it's because the opposite of me would be you, and the opposite of cold is hot. So just flip the penetrator and looper responsibilities of cold to get hot, and flip the penetrator and looper responsibilities of me to get you, and all of a sudden you get hot you, which is a whole different pressure path, but with the same four guys in the same alignment. The names are designed this way so that players can just easily register who is doing what role in the stunt. But again, cold, me, left was the actual call.
Yeah,
the Ravens
you got
executed
it. In case you're a newbie to ball, you got it. It's simple.
These stunts to perfection, and Haloti Ngata was sprung free for an easy sack,
Look at him.
completely untouched to end the drive. So the Ravens defense, probably as expected, was cooking early on.
Jesus.
But not to be outdone, the Steelers defense answered that sack with a 3rd down interception of their own on the ensuing possession. Minutes later, after another hard-earned Steelers field goal, and then each defense continuing to trade haymakers against each other's offenses, we finally ended up at a pivotal sequence early in the game where arguably the best player in the game made his presence felt.
Here's the sneak. Flacco, second chance, second effort, and it looks like they're going to mark him short of it.
Look at Polamalu,
This
dude.
4th down stop was vintage Troy Polamalu. But the real story of the play is that Troy actually saw it coming one snap earlier. On 3rd and 1 in that same series, one play before that leap, Joe Flacco sent his running back, Willis McGahee, in motion to empty out the backfield and make it look like he was going to try to quarterback sneak it. Flacco then used a hard count to try to draw the Steelers off sides and move the chains that way, but nobody took the cheese, so he called a timeout instead. Polamalu knew that if they were ever going to bluff a sneak, that was it. That was the one time they would fake it, and anything else from here on out was probably going to be a real sneak. So what does he then do on that same 3rd and 1 coming off the timeout? Well, he leaped over the line of scrimmage, of course. Now, Flacco wasn't actually sneaking on this play either, but Troy knew that sooner or later it was probably coming, and the best way to stop it was to just go full send over the line. The Ravens then lined up for that crucial 4th and 1, deciding to go for it. And once Polamalu saw that same motion again from McGahee out of the backfield, he knew that sneak was back on. Come hell or high water, he was going to get to the quarterback. Believe it or not, he actually had a coverage assignment here. He wasn't quote-unquote supposed to blitz, but if you're reading a run play and you're a Hall of Fame safety, coverage assignments are really more just guidelines rather than hard and fast rules. Troy timed the snap perfectly, grabbed a hold of Flacco like a lion trying to take down a gazelle, and he got him on the ground. Drive over.
So the Ravens still denied a single first down.
On the ensuing
Jared Goff gets that first down.
Steelers possession, Rex Ryan got Pittsburgh into yet another 3rd and 9, and then he leaned once more on those 3rd down blitzes that he loved so much. But this time, it didn't exactly go his way.
They're bringing everybody. Stepping away from it, Roethlisberger throws off balance, has Holmes. Holmes cuts back, middle pass Walker. Sidesteps another hit. Miller down there leading the charges. Washington's going to throw a block, and Holmes has taken it in. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
I really wish I could provide some sort of real analysis of what went wrong here. I mean, the call was good for Baltimore. They got pressure. They had suffocating man coverage. Everything worked until it didn't. This was just a case.
Dude, why is everybody on fucking Mahomes' nuts when what we just watched fucking Roethlisberger do is what Mahomes has been doing? So, like, everyone's like, oh, Patrick Mahomes. Like, dude, Roethlisberger been doing it fucking 20 years ago, dude.
Case of Big Ben being Big Ben. And for those of you out there that are too young to remember what Roethlisberger in his prime was actually like, sometimes this would just happen. Sometimes he would get out of impossible situations, look off into the distance, say, screw it, Santonio Holmes is down there somewhere, and it would work. By God, it would work, and nobody really knows why. It just did. So after that touchdown,
and by God, it would just work.
13-0, both defenses went back to their dominant ways, and the game mostly came to a standstill for the rest of the second quarter. Until, that is, Baltimore got a huge play on special teams from a man who right now in the present day is currently one of the best defensive coaches in
Jim
the
Leonard.
NFL.
Leonard's got a chance to run
Jim
this.
Leonard knew it.
Gets past the wave. Leonard inside the 40. Got to beat the punter. And Berger knocks the ball out. And Leonard down.
That's right. Jim Leonard, current Broncos pass game coordinator and Wisconsin Badger legend, was a damn good punt returner in his prime. How about that? So after getting set up in great field position from that return in vintage Baltimore fashion, they drew a pass interference call to get down to the 1 yard line and then punched it in for a touchdown. All of a sudden, after being 13-0, it's 13-7, and we got a ball game at halftime. And since it is halftime, and I recorded this part way later in the editing, Steelers fan, or if you know a Steelers fan, and
So
it's
that
the
is.
third quarter now, where young rookie Joe Flacco's continuous playing with fire has almost cost him several times already.
Young
On
rookie
3rd and
Joe
11,
Flacco.
And then again, on the next drive on 3rd and 7, he almost had back-to-back picks, either through tipped balls or just outright bad throws. And believe it or not, that was the 4th near interception in his last 3 drives. So things were looking pretty rough out there, and the Steel Curtain 2.0 clearly smelled blood in the water. But the true payoff was still yet to come.
Derek Mason.
The Ravens defense was keeping Baltimore in it while Joe shook off his struggles, and they had the Pittsburgh offense also fighting for their own life. Roethlisberger took a huge 3rd down sack, and then on the very next Steelers possession, Terrell Suggs got yet another monster sack on 1st down.
Dude, T-Sizzle was a bad
this
man.
2nd and 24. Easily the most important play of the game up to that point for both teams. Rex was calling a great game. Ray Lewis was smashing everyone. Suggs was eating. Ed was prowling. I mean, this defense walked into enemy territory and had their arch rival on the ropes. They were doing it. But then, almost inexplicably, they busted their coverage.
2nd and 24, looking long, and has Miller.
Heath Miller, dude.
And there's
Dude, didn't he put up like 280, like 20-some times in his combine, dude? Heath Miller out of Virginia. That he was a bad motherfucker.
Lewis bringing him down, but we do have a flag. Illegal contact, it will hold up.
Somehow, one of the most famously disciplined defenses ever made a huge mental mistake. And here's the kicker. It was Lewis, of all people, that had the miscommunication. Looking at the all-22 for this play, with a bunch close to the field side and a single isolated receiver to the boundary, the Ravens had a cover 3 call on here, but it's a modified cover 3 known in the Nick Saban language as 3 Buzz Mabel. This is a common coverage check for a trips look, and almost every defense at every level has some kind of version of this. The backside corner is going to be
just
locked in
crashing
man
the safety
coverage.
down.
Ed Reed is going to be baiting any throw to the deep post so he can pick that off. The field side corner is responsible for his deep third, as well as squeezing any seam throw to the inside of him. You have the strong curl flat player, the strong hook, the weak hook, and the weak curl flat. In 3 Buzz Mabel, one of the key vulnerabilities is the weak hook player, which is almost always going to be the Mike linebacker. He has the enviable task of having to pick up any crossing route from what's called the final
Any
3.
crossing route.
That means that after all these receivers
so you confuse
release
the
into
shit
their
out of
routes
them
in
right here.
whatever
Check it
direction
out.
they're going to go, the furthest
He
route
has
to
to
the
pick.
inside is going to be the final 3.
And if he picks
you're counting
wrong,
from outside to inside. If
you're
that
fucked.
final 3 runs a deep cross, you got to get on your horse and go carry that, because you are not going to get any help from the safety.
Oh,
and you're
see
not
how
gonna
he
get any
see how he
help from the
cut?
weak side
See how he
flat
came in
player.
instead of going
That
with
is
him?
just you and you alone, which is why Jim Leonard let Heath Miller go, Ed Reed let him go, everybody let him go, because all of them thought Ray was going to carry it. But for whatever reason, due to miscommunication, that just didn't happen. Miller ran free through the back of the defense.
No, I
and
see what
Ben
he did.
found
Check
him
it out.
for a
This is what happened. All right, watch here. So Ray Lewis was watching the wrong cat, dude. So as the play unfolded, see how this cat right here has already ran a short hook past the not even past the sticks, but ran a short hook right here. The safety, he stumbles and lets it ride. So Lewis starts crashing down prematurely, assuming that Ed Reed would probably crash over and pick up this zone. It's just a bad feel, just a bad feel.
player. That is just you and you alone, which is why Jim Leonard let Heath Miller go, Ed Reed let him go, everybody let him go, because all of them thought Ray was going to carry it. But for whatever reason, due to miscommunication, that just didn't happen. Miller ran free through the back of the defense, and Ben found him for a 30-yard gain on 2nd and 24 to pick up a seemingly impossible first down. After rescuing the drive, the Steelers capitalized on that momentum by getting much-needed points to make it 16-7, a 2-possession lead in the fourth quarter. Finally, at long last, a buffer. Baltimore felt this game starting to slip away. They needed one good drive, and they needed it now. So, of course, right on cue, Steelers punter Mitch Berger had a brutal shanked punt for only 21 yards, and that set up Baltimore with really good field position at their own 42-yard line. Somehow, despite being under pressure all day long,
look how
and
young
not
Joe
even seeming to
Flacco
play that
is.
well leading up to this point, Joe Flacco finally locked in. Completion after completion, first down after first down, he worked his way down the field. Baltimore
Joe Flacco from Delaware
got within striking distance, and then through the grace of the football gods for the second time in this game, they drew a pass interference penalty to set themselves up once again at the Steelers' 1-yard line. Willis McGahee punched it in to cap off the drive, and just like that, we have a 2-point game with minutes to go.
Now the Ravens and
Talk about a forgotten but underrated running back, dude. Willis McGahee, dude. This whole game, I just feel like I'm just sitting here going, "He's a bad man. That guy's a bad man. Oh, he's a bad man. That's a bad mama jamma right there."
Steelers, the other 2 games came down to the wire. And now it's starting to look like this one will
Hey,
too.
it's James Harrison.
On the ensuing Steelers possession, Baltimore's
So was
defense
that
held
fast, Willie
firm
Parker?
once again. forcing Pittsburgh into a 3rd and 13, which became another Terrell Suggs sack on just a 3-man rush.
T-sizzle,
All
bad
of the
man.
momentum was suddenly in their favor.
Bad
and
man.
The Ravens legitimately had a chance to steal this win on the road.
Yeah, fast Willie
One more
Parker.
chance with the ball, and they just needed a field goal to win it. That one chance is all they could ever ask for. And yet, on the other side of the ball, even with everything seemingly now going wrong, the Steelers were also right where they wanted to be. They had a lead. They got Baltimore into a 3rd and 13 after a 2nd down
James
sack.
Ferrier.
Renegade was blasting. The towels were waving. The crowd was deafening. This
Bro, I'm
was
hype
it.
right now about
A trip
this.
to the Super Bowl all came down
I'm
to
hype
one
about this.
play. 3rd and long, Joe Flacco in the gun.
Let's go, dude. Oh! Polamalu slamming the door.
Polamalu going right. The field is open. Aaron Smith shields. Flacco. Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
Troy Polamalu's pick six is iconic in so many ways, but what is most fascinating to me is how it happened. The Ravens are in a formation and motion called gun tough right Z short, or at least that's what Kyle Shanahan calls it. I don't know exactly what Baltimore called it back then, so I'll just use Shanahan language for now. The route concept is a through route down the deep middle seam as an alert, so if this comes wide open, everything else in the read goes out the window, and Flacco would just throw that for a touchdown. But failing that, there is a route called a 7 stop to the field side, and then on the boundary side, you have a crossing route. This crossing route also has a read built into it where it will just keep going across the field against man coverage, but if it's zone
sits down
coverage
in the
like this
zone.
one, it'll settle down in space. The whole idea of this particular route distribution is using the through route as a vertical clear to move any inside coverage defenders deep and out.
Which is what I was talking about. We need to do with JMO more regularly, is have people clear out the defense for JMO.
Of the way, and then the 7 stop will sell hard to the outside at first to widen out and deepen any outside defenders.
Pushes that
before
DB off of
settling
you.
into space
And you
just
turn and
beyond the
walk in.
sticks. It's a classic zone beating concept that
Yep.
manipulates the defense to create the space where you want it to be and then punishes that space. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, the Steelers are in a 2-deep fire zone blitz that Dick LeBeau called Sting. The mechanics of this blitz and coverage might look complicated on the surface, but they're simple enough that they allowed Polamalu to freelance if he had an opportunity to, which, of course, he did, because he's Troy Polamalu. Just imagine this as a 5-man rush up front with cover 2 on the back end, but because you're playing cover 2 with one less defender in coverage than a normal cover 2 would have, you have to play that coverage tighter and more aggressively.
You have to
So
conse-
Ryan
you have
Clark,
basically
for
have to play
instance,
the
instead of
basically have to play the secondary in quarters.
expanding out to play a deep half technique like a regular cover 2, he's playing an inside technique almost as if he's in quarters, but not really, because he's responsible for cutting any crossing routes from this number 1 to his side. And if you're wondering how I know this, by the way, it's because RC literally told me what this call was. So trust me, I got this from a good source. Now, at the same time as Clark is playing that inside technique, Ike Taylor, the flat defender on that side,
Ike
is responsible
Taylor.
for rallying and tackling anything to the
This is a
flat
shitty
if
corner
Flacco
for
decides
you.
to just check it down to McGahee. On the other side of the field, which is the passing strength of the offensive formation, because there are 3 receiving threats to that side, so that makes it the strong side, you have Troy Polamalu playing a weak side vertical hook role, Deshae Townsend as the nickel is playing the strong side vertical hook, Tyrone Carter is a
Hey, isn't Deshae Townsend our defensive backs coach?
true deep half safety, and Willie Gay is the field side flat defender.
Don't be gay.
So 4 defenders handling 3 receivers. This side of the defense plays out very similarly to a normal cover 2 when it comes to Gay as the flat defender and Carter as the deep half safety. But the major difference here is Townsend, who's playing a vertical hook technique, not a regular hook zone like you would see in a normal cover 2. Again, this is a vertical hook. As a vertical hook player, your job is to take the final number 2 receiver after the release and carry him as deep as he wants to go. If he's running
Run him.
vertical, you're running vertical too.
just run with
If
him.
he stops, you stop. Townsend has absolutely no help here, so the only thing that matters is that he doesn't get beat deep. And again, they're only playing this technique because it's the only way to make cover 2 work with 6 defenders in coverage instead of 7. Now, at the same time, Troy, as the weak side hook defender, doesn't have a vertical threat to the weak side to actually worry about. On that weak side, it's just a running back and a single receiver, who Clark and Taylor already have sorted out between themselves, as you know. So Troy is really just keying in
He's
on Todd
free,
Heap
dude,
here as the
yeah.
strong side number 3, and that is the only receiver on the field that he can cover. So because of the aggressive simplicity of this coverage, if Heap stays in to pass protect at first instead of running a route, which he does, then Troy's basically free to do whatever he wants. He has no other responsibilities, so he could just be himself. You can see just after the ball is snapped and Heap is clearly helping in protection, Polamalu just stops moving. He's got all the time in the world now, so he's just waiting there.
Moving.
Like
look at him, he's just standing. Yeah.
Reading Joe
Holy
Flacco's
shit.
eyes. If you flip it to the end zone angle, even though most of Troy's off the screen from this view,
his feet aren't even moving.
See his feet. But more importantly, you can see just by watching those feet that before Joe even starts his throwing motion, Polamalu's already started to break to the window where he thinks the ball is going. And in fact, he got there so quickly that he
right here is where Joe should have gone. See how the receiver on the boundary had already identified the coverage. You'll watch the receiver on the boundary. Remember, he was supposed to be running that clear out. But if it's man, he keeps going. If it's zone, you sit in the zone. Watch him.
That before Joe even starts his throwing motion, Polamalu's already started to break to the window where he
See this
thinks
receiver
the
right
ball
here?
is going.
This guy?
And in fact,
sitting
he got
in the
there
zone
so quickly that he almost overshot it. He had to contort to catch the ball behind him because
Harrison
he
was
got
crashing
there
in on him
too
from that
early.
side, so he
That's
eliminated
how fast
that side.
His read and
Look
his
at him.
break were.
See
But again,
watch how
freedom
see how the pressure comes around from this side. Flacco eliminates his viewpoint from this side of the field and starts targeting only his right-hand side, so he completely misses his easy read on the left.
Get there that quickly was only possible because of the coverage call in the first place. The Steelers of that era built their defense around putting Troy in positions where he could basically freelance by design. And this pick six was easily the most impactful and iconic example of that philosophy. With Troy scoring and making it a 23-14 ball game with just a few minutes to go, that was basically all she wrote. There were a couple more possessions for Baltimore, sure, but with the Steelers having a 2-possession lead and Flacco throwing yet another desperate pick to Tyrone Carter, the AFC champion was decided the moment Polamalu crossed that goal line. As a sports fan in my 30s, there are a lot of lasting images to me from that era of football. Chris Johnson making Olympic-level athletes look slow.
How ironic with Chris Johnson just in the news this week.
The Dolphins running the Wildcat, Devin Hester being unstoppable. I look back on all of them fondly, but nothing during that time rewired my brain quite like the 08 AFC Championship. It was one of the last games of a dying breed. It was a meeting between two old-school heavyweight brawlers that were built the exact same way to win the exact same way, with body blows. Lots and lots and lots of body blows. In a sport that has become obsessed with speed, the Steelers and the Ravens were obsessed with violence, and my God, they were good at it. Football has changed, yes, that is undeniable, but our love of it has not. Championship rivalries like the one we witnessed that night are what that love is made out of. One can only hope that the next generation of football fans will be so lucky as we were to see a game like that. A game they tell their children about. A game that 500,000 different people swear they were in the stadium for. A game that, no matter what, will stay with them forever.
Man, back when football was fucking football, dude, yo. Fellas, hopefully you have a good rest of your evening. Enjoy the holiday weekend. We will be off tomorrow celebrating America's 250th birthday weekend. Be safe out there. Be smart. Don't call for bail. Lord knows I don't have it. We'll catch you guys Monday after the long weekend. Stay safe. Until then, I've been James with the Hat and Beard Show. You've been an attentive audience. We'll catch you next time. Bonga bonga. Frig off.